Good afternoon and welcome to episode 2 of Gigabits and Gigahertz, a vlog that we discuss, with stuff, ISPs, broadband, connectivity, fiber, spectrum, whatever goes around the industry. So I'm very happy to have here today Mike Meluskey from Broadband.VI. Michael, how you doing?
Doing well, Dino. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Thank you, and thank good afternoon and good evening to all the people that are watching us and connecting right now into our live transmission. So, Mike, just to start off with our discussion, can you tell our viewers who you are, where you're from, and what is your business in the telecom industry?
I'll give you the short version.
Sure.
I am on St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Moved down here about 22 years ago. Was telecommuting with dial-up. Couldn't get high speed at my house, and one thing led to another, and I started Broadband.VI with a couple of partners, and about 18 years ago, and we were a WISP from day one. An Omni antenna with Smart Bridges radios.
Wow.
And that grew from St. Croix to acquiring another company on St. Thomas, St. John, and about 10 years ago. And now we're on all three islands with about 9,000 customers.
Awesome.
St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix are the three
Awesome,
US
awesome.
islands.
I think you have a pretty familiar story for most of the WISP in the industry that basically it was my case too. I didn't have good internet speed at my house, and I started to do some research of how to bring, back then was kind of 256K to my house. That was my goal. So, I've been there, man. I've been there. So, so what was your background? Were you in technology before doing the WISP thing?
Yeah. College, I went to Georgia Tech and have a degree in computer science. And then after that, I went to night school at Georgia State and got an MBA. And I was in the ERP software world, which is like software to help manufacturing companies figure out their inventory, what they need to buy, how to make things, production orders, purchase orders, and so on. And did that for, 10, 12 years. And business was sold, and had an opportunity to move to the Virgin Islands. So I did, and was still telecommuting back and forth to the States. And the Broadband-VI started off as more of a hobby, and kind of grew and grew and grew to the point where it became a full-time job. And then I worked harder than I'd ever worked in my life.
Yeah.
During the organic growth year explosion, and now it is what it is.
So being in the USVI, I can imagine a lot of challenges that goes around with being in that location, because we're kind of neighbors. We're Puerto Rico is within the neighborhood of the USVI. But can you expand and tell our audience what those challenges are for a WISP operating not in the mainland?
The biggest challenges are you can't get things instantly like you can in the States. So if you have an outage, you can't call your distributor, your company, and say, hey, can you overnight me X, Y, or Z? Because it's going to take a couple days if you're lucky. And so we end up with a larger inventory of spares than a stateside WISP would have. The second thing is our power has so many outages and is so unstable. We have to spend a lot of time, money, and energy on keeping the battery banks happy, the generators fueled, everything ready to go at all the main and sub tower sites. Those would be the two biggest day-to-day headaches that we have.
And then we have a once in not in a lifetime, but maybe X amount of years challenge that we are part of the we're within the Hurricane Alley.
Twice in 1 year. It was so unfair. I mean, we were, Gino's talking about hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And Irma came by and just demolished St. Thomas and St. John. and just kissed St. Croix and Puerto Rico a little bit. So we were in really good shape, and helping to rebuild our St. Thomas network. And we right after the storm, we were able to take boats over, and I call it the Crucian Navy. All went over to St. Thomas and St. John with relief supplies to pick up stranded tourists and sick people and bring them back to our relatively unscathed island. And then we sent our tower team and generators and spare equipment, and we went to all of the major tower sites on St. Thomas and rebuilt our entire ring, and did that in about a week. And we were feeling pretty darn good about ourselves. And we're plotting the next few months of rebuild activities, and then we got news of this other storm coming.
Surprise, surprise.
And it was that Monday. So 12 days later, September 6th to September 18th, and on the 18th, wham! Category 5 Maria hit us. Irma was a Category 5. Maria was a Category 5, and that hit St. Croix, and then went right through Puerto Rico and just demolished you guys.
Yeah.
So, and it did enough damage on St. Thomas to wipe out all the hard work we had done the week before. So, long story short, that was pretty tough.
Yes, I can't imagine. I was there too. Here, obviously, with locally here in Puerto Rico, we have our same similar situation. But yeah, it brings the topic of resilience. Us as ISPs in Hurricane Alley, being hit by a couple of hurricanes. Obviously, in the States, you got storms and you got tornadoes, which are another different challenge. But we dealt with that in 3 years ago, and now we're dealing with a pandemic, worldwide pandemic. How you guys have adjusted to this new situation?
Due to my brilliant foresight in engineering, we had enough capacity in our backhaul to handle the 30% increase in traffic that happened overnight in March. And Sunday nights we sweat it because that's the peak evening. But it's been acceptable for our customers. They're all able to Netflix and chill on a Sunday night, which is what the real test is. We had, before the storms, we were migrating our old MikroTik network to the CamBium 450 world, and now we're 98% complete with that transition, and we have over 100 450Ms up.
Wow.
On all three islands, and
nice.
That's our bread and butter access point. And I just can't say enough good things about the CamBium 450M. On top of which, it survived the hurricanes, unlike some other products, Ubiquiti, Air 424. Are you listening? Back to your question, we've been able to handle it from a networking perspective. From an employee perspective, our folks have been great. The field techs are wearing their protection from day one. We were able to get gallon size hand sanitizer, which was made on island from a vodka distillery.
Okay, nice.
To everybody, a customer, of course, and make sure people were safe from that perspective. The Virgin Islands have not been hit as hard as some other areas. As even Puerto Rico has been hit a lot harder than we have, and I don't know if that's distance or how densely populated we are, and then all the fresh air and sunshine we get, I think, helps as well. But so the field techs have been great. The tower team, of course, has had their challenges and is doing great, and we've been able to keep existing customers happy, add new customers, continue fixing things in migration, and this week we're putting in a new fiber drop, or rebuilding an old fiber drop that was destroyed in the storms at a major tower. So we're hoping to see that go live this week and further give us more capacity and alleviate any pressure points.
Awesome. do you have any personnel working from home, or everybody's reporting to the office?
No. About half of the phone support people, customer service reps, are working from home.
Okay,
Some of the tier 3 field tech support guys or people are working, gals are working from home. I'm working from home. I stop by the office once a week. And it's really more of a personal choice. Some people prefer to get away from, in my case, a 7-year-old, who is pretty bossy at times. So that's, but I'm in a situation where I can, basically my life is responding to email. So it's pretty easy to do that wherever I am.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask how you guys are doing.
We're doing basically, and surprisingly, it's working better than I thought. But our administrative staff and our tech support people working from home, and we just have the field techs reporting to the office. And since we there's not full capacity of work to be done on the field, we have half of the team reporting one week and then the other half the next week. So,
okay.
And it's working out pretty well, and we're kind of protecting them not to be exposed like the whole week, every week. So,
yeah, we have one field tech, and a couple of them cannot go out in the field, and that's fine. One is doing phone support, and the other is doing more inventory work. And then because of they're compromised, or one with his old grandfather who's compromised and doesn't want to risk it. So we've been able to accommodate them with their situations, and
makes sense.
That's yeah.
I wanted to tell all our viewers, if you have any questions for Mike or for me, you can go ahead and post it in the live screen. We'll see it and we can answer them. I wanted to touch, you mentioned that you were in the middle of a network upgrade. You were moving from a MikroTik-based wireless network to a CamBium-based network. Can you talk about a little bit about that? Why you made that decision and what's been your experience?
Yeah, we rode the MikroTik horse as far as it would take us, and just the old days with the RB532s with the big cards, and then MikroTik started coming out with their cards that you could plug into the RB800s, and the whole network went to when MV2 came out and we could do TDMA. That was a big increase. This was, had to have been 10 years ago. And so the whole network was basically MikroTik RB800s with the R52 cards, and then putting up a couple of sectors at the same time. Oops. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We walk over. Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Good.
I'll walk closer to the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But so that gave us the ability to handle about 40 customers comfortably on a 20 megahertz channel. And we were looking for something that would be a better tool, a better access point, a better technology, and even tested a few. Then the CamBium announced the 450M, and we were an old Orthogon shop, so we had the old Orthogon point-to-point radios, and when CamBium bought them, they had talked about, we're going to blend canopy with the FDM of the Orthogon. And it's like, oh, great. 8 years later, it finally comes out and, as the 450M. And so I was really excited about it when it was first announced. And we got an early one and started testing it. And it was, it was a little bit of a leap of faith one of the big improvements that CamBium made was that it was in the 450B product, getting rid of that cap, that license key. Yeah. That just drove me crazy about the canopy line. The reasons why we never went that direction. So, and now I'll tell you that 450M, we have 150, 180 customers on one at 450M, 40 megahertz.
180?
180.
Wow.
We've done over 200. We've done over 200.
Wow, that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, my network manager gets mad at me when we do that, but so he likes to keep it down under 150. But
Okay.
and again, look at where we were in the microtik world. We were looking at, that we were lucky to get 40 comfortable.
Right.
Sometimes we put
Yeah.
50 plus on, and nobody was happy, and that would be, all those 20 megahertz channels. Now a 40 megahertz channel, 30, 40 megahertz channel with 150 customers, and that's
Right.
so much more efficient utilization of the spectrum,
Definitely.
and the speeds. We're getting, easily getting 150
Wow.
on the internal tests.
Right.
We don't have a 100 meg plan yet, but we're going that way.
Nice.
50 meg is our big plan.
That was my question. What kind of speed are you offering right now on the platform?
Maxing it out at 50. We have a couple of
50.
special cases that are 100.
Okay.
That we'll do, but we're CamBium's coming out with the frame size is going to go from 2.5 milliseconds to 5,
Mm-hmm.
and that will essentially double the throughput once that happens.
Yeah.
And they were targeting November, so it's
let's cross our fingers.
Maybe first quarter, maybe second quarter, but it's in our lifetime.
They cannot pin down that on coronavirus. This is software,
Yeah, I know.
not hardware.
We'll have to give Matt and company some grief about that. But no, so hopefully we'll be seeing that, the end of the year, beginning next year, and that is, now you're talking about doubling an AP with an aggregate capacity now of 400 to 600. Now you're talking a gig.
Yeah.
A gig.
Or
A
close
gig
to
out of a point to multi-point access point that can handle over 100 customers.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I think that is one of the most I'd say advanced products right now on the market. What else is getting you excited about, the WISP business in terms of technology coming out down the line? There's a lot of new stuff coming down. So what's getting you?
We're big believers in IgniteNet.
Okay. 6 gig.
Over 100. Yep, the 60 gigahertz with the built-in 5 gig failover, with over-the-air capacity up to 4 gig in a point-to-multipoint environment. And the limitation is the range. You're basically limited to 0.4 miles on the point-to-multipoint. We're doing some point-to-point shots over a mile, or around a mile.
Nice.
And that's come in really handy with some of our high-end customers.
Right.
To be able to give the oil refinery a 500 meg fiber with a connection with a 500 meg microwave backup is helps them sleep at night. So
yeah,
I
think 60 gigahertz is going to be big in the ISP industry, and now that the new chipsets are coming along pretty soon, the 802.11ays. So let's see what brings that to the table.
Yeah, and that's I'm looking. I haven't touched the Ciclu or 60 gigahertz, but kept an eye on it. And then CamBium's rolling out theirs with the new chipset. That'll be worth taking a look at as well.
Yeah.
But, then again, IgniteNet can follow along and utilize that new chipset as well.
Exactly.
And it would be a totally new generation radio, incompatible with the previous gen. But if with the advances they're looking at with that new chipset, it's going to be some pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. How about, what do you think about the 6 gigahertz opening up for unlicensed operation, basically?
My jaw is still open. I can't believe they're going to do that for us. I mean, wow. It's, I guess, the cynic in me says, how quickly can we trash it? But
right. Wow.
It's going to give us so much breathing room, and properly manage. The only concern I have is that I have some very important 40-mile shots between St. Croix and St. Thomas that are at 6 gigahertz. So I hope that the protection is there for those shots. Now, fortunately, they're almost all over water.
Okay.
So that just around the towers, can I go door to door and knock on these people's doors and say, hey, don't use these, this
This
frequency
equipment,
range.
yeah.
Actually, laughingly, I do know. Yeah, I know the guy there. I know, so I'm trying to think of who lives around it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it should be a huge problem with the SaaS system protecting the incumbent. So let's hope for the best, at least for outdoor operation.
And, so looking forward to it. It's an amazing announcement, and we seem to have an FCC that is really on the ball and forward thinking and
that was pretty progressive, from them. How about what else are you looking at? Any CBRS down the line, or even 5G?
We did 365 for many years, and honestly, it ended up getting polluted. And so we kind of abandoned it. I think we had one or two still up until recently. The storms kind of helped, get rid of a lot of that as well. We'll have to do an ad one day. The best way to field, do a forklift upgrade of your network is to have a Category 5 hurricane.
Yes, definitely. That will help you.
Yeah, it will. We're keeping an eye on that. There's the LTE flavor of that, and then CamBium has a 3.5 450M.
Right.
It's as big as a kitchen table, but
yeah, it's pretty big.
My tower guys took one look at that and said, So yeah, that'll be interesting. And then on the 5G side, that's kind of what I call IgniteNet. It's kind of a pre-5G, or it's playing around.
It's kind of the 5G experience.
Yeah. Hey, 4.6 gig over the, and of course you can't even get that out of it. The most you can get out of it is an SFP plus doing 2.5 gig. So let's see where that goes. But we'll see if some of the big guys will, Ericsson and others will play with us, and then what will buy cells, and is Telrad still in business?
I think so. Yeah.
What will they end up doing? So we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that one of the questions from the general public might be, being the USVI, how do you get your internet? Where is it coming from? Can you enlighten us on that?
Sure. If you look at the undersea fiber maps of the world, St. Croix is a major hub.
It is, yeah.
It's the old. It was originally Tyco, then Global Crossing, then Level 3, now CenturyLink. North America to South America all went through the northwestern corner of St. Croix, where there is a cable station that we tap into for our internet. So you have, from that one cable station, you have fibers going to Brazil, or down the Caribbean down to Brazil, which then goes across Argentina, Chile, up the Pacific coast to Panama to St. Croix, and Panama also goes to Los Angeles. Then there's two separate fibers, one going to Miami and one going to New York. And that's just the what's now CenturyLink. You also have AT&T having cable stations on St. Thomas and St. Croix for the Americas 1 and Americas 2 fibers, which preceded the Tyco Global Crossing Level 3 CenturyLink fiber.
Nice. And that's one of the reasons we know each other. I want to share this tidbit with your audience. We know each other for more than 10 years, I think. Yeah. The reason was that I don't even remember if I reached out to you. You reached out to me, but we used to deliver bandwidth to Mike at St. Thomas via Puerto Rico over microwave. So that was kind of a neat project. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you took a link in there. So
yeah, we used to do up to we started with what 100 meg, was it?
I think it was. Yeah.
It
was a big deal. The St. Thomas used to be fed with I think, 32 T1s.
Okay. Wow.
30 separate T1s from AT&T at two different tower sites. So when we acquired them, that was we had tons of bandwidth because of the cable station on St. Croix, and that's one thing we were able to do was to put in the microwave link across, and then we're like, well, what's our backup? Oh,
right.
These guys in Puerto Rico. So
yeah, I remember that we started with 100 gig and then grew up to 1 gig.
Yeah,
that was kind of a pretty interesting project to do. Pretty awesome. Good times, man. Good times. Mike, thank you very much for your time. I just pretty a wonderful talk. I just wanted to congratulate you on achievements, and we would like to close with. Do you have any sort of an advice for any of the WISP operators currently listening to us, or that might listen to this broadcast later during with the recording? Do you have any sort of advice in terms of technology or operations or any sort of thing?
Well, from a technology, take a look at how CamBium responded to the FCC opening up 5.85 to 5.8 or 9.5. I mean, opening up that 45 megahertz, CamBium jumped on it and had it out like that for the 450M and EPMP lines, and that just shows you it's not just about this bits and bytes and maybe this is a few dollars more, but those guys actually care about WISPs, other than some of the other vendors who start with a U that I won't name. And then just from the business side of a WISP, and Gino, as you know, it all becomes about cash flow. And, you gotta plan smart and try to build in enough technological cushion, but don't overdo it. Don't go crazy and have enough cash for the rainy day or the Category 5 hurricane that comes your way,
or the pandemic. Yeah.
Our pandemic, which I feel guilty, but we're doing well. Financially, customers have turned up their bandwidth for new installs. It's been financially a good thing for me. I hate it though because I just see so many of my friends' businesses and hurting. I can't wait to get back to normal. So
yeah, I think we all can't wait to get back to normal. So Mike, thank you very much for your time. It's been an awesome experience. Thank you very much, and we'll keep thank you for keeping USVI connected.
All right. And same to you in Puerto Rico, Gino.
Thank you very much. To all our audience, thank you very much for listening in, and we'll be in next week. We'll have another person here on the broadcast, and I hope you enjoy our transmission. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye-bye.